It was a routine day. I was working in plain clothes. I was in the forensic identification branch, partnered up with Constable Greg Malash. We were both constables at the time. And we had an assignment to go to the Windsor jail to either collect some evidence or get some fingerprints from somebody that was being held, maybe on immigration. I forget the actual reason, but wasn't anything complicated. So it put us under the west end of Windsor. And not that that's unusual, but we just happened to be there when the fire call went out. That dispatch broadcast that, attention all units, we got a request from Windsor Fire to assist with a working fire, and gave the address on South Street. And we weren't that far off. So, I got into policing to help. So we're like, hey, you know what? We're here. Let's go see what we can do to help out. And we got there before even the assigned patrol car made it there. And it was still in those very early stages of any type of large-scale disaster where it's, you get a number of trained responders trying to make order out of chaos. Neighbors were screaming. There was neighbors with hoses spraying like up to a window on the second floor. Firefighters were scrambling for gear. Multiple orders being barked around, and it became obvious when I got there that there were still people inside the house. Yet the house appeared to be fully engulfed, the second floor, and there was smoke spewing out the front door or window. And you could see firefighters like they were looking to try to go in, but then they pulled back, and then somebody came up with a hose and put this spray cone where it's this fine mist in a spray, basically following that cool mist into there to knock down the fire so they can make headway. And people were screaming that I can, see the boys, and it was horrific. And at that point, we were just standing, trying to help out with crowd control and getting things out of the way. And it was shortly after that the first body was brought out. I remember a firefighter coming through the front doors, full gear, Scott Air Pack on, cradling this small, lifeless body that was obviously, he's obviously deceased, but with horrific thermal injuries. Like these would have been, we learned later post-mortem, but, skin, not the color of skin, bits of clothing still on, hair mostly singed away. And it was horrific to see a lifeless body that size in that condition. Through the investigation, even at autopsy, there was a mass of melted plastic. It was like, it wasn't so melted that you couldn't recognize what it was, but it was hard, and it was melted into the older boy's hand. And we separated it out in the autopsy room and photographed it, and I was able to take it apart, and we examined it and learned that it was a Fisher-Price flashlight, a child's flashlight that you would get, for a toddler or somebody in preschool, that, had a battery in it and hand with the flashlight, but it had a knob on the side that you could turn it from green to red to clear, kind of almost like a fireman or policeman. And it was a cute, adorable toy, and it looks like he had that in his hand. And neighbors later gave statements that he was trying to break the window. Like they could literally see him upstairs through the fire trying to break the window to get out, and he wasn't successful. And so it added for us an element to figure out the whole story as to what had gone on there, and we were able to determine that this was just a horrific accident. That there was no criminality. There was never going to be a trial, never going to be any charges, and there never even was a coroner's inquest. I think because it was so clear cut as to who, what, where, when, how, and why. So it really got closed up. There was no further investigation necessary. It was a horrific accident. This was an issue for the family now to deal with, the remainder family and insurance companies and everything else, and we moved on to other criminality and issues and stuff like that. And so for me, there was no debriefing. The debriefing that did go on for first responders was done while I was at the morgue with the pathologist and morgue assistant doing the autopsy. So I never got a chance to do that even. So it was literally just tucked into this box and put into a closet of my mind, and where it really shouldn't have gone. I really should have debriefed it and talked about it, and I just closed it up and went back to policing. And that box, it's like putting away rotted food into the corner of the refrigerator. It doesn't get better on its own. It just gets moldy, and at some point you got to address it. And I never did until would have been the Christmas, I believe, in 1996. My son was 4 years old now, and he had a gift from friends of ours under the Christmas tree, and wasn't here in this house. But it's Christmas is exciting for parents. We had a little girl by that time, so we got 2 kids tearing open presents on Christmas morning, which is kind of like, I think, the high point of every family's year. It's that wonderful experience of Christmas morning with your children, and to see the joy in their face. And my son had a box, and it was from his, well, he always called his aunt and uncle, but they're friends, school friends of my wife that had become family friends. And she was a nurse, and he actually was a policeman as well with Windsor. They'd got him a gift. So he opens the gift, and he reaches in, and he pulls out a little yellow Fisher-Price flashlight with a lens that you can turn from green to red and clear. And as soon as I saw him holding that, I broke down. My brain broke. I just started sobbing, like uncontrollable, that messy, uncontrolled crying of snot and trying to struggle for breath, and tears so thick that you can't see through them, and just like your face has gone liquid, and tunnel vision, and time and space, just nothing making sense. And I remember just stumbling to the bathroom, and I remember hearing my wife respond to my son, because my son says to my wife, like, "Why is Daddy crying?" And my wife, I had told her about what had happened and everything about the flashlight, so she made the connection. And she was just so smart and quick and loving, and she's like, "Oh, sweetie, it's okay. Daddy's okay. He got one of those. He had that toy like that when he was a little boy, so he's just happy, sad." And just to make sure that the trauma didn't extend to my son, and it was, my life kind of came unglued after that. I sought out professional help. I'd gone to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and started therapy then, but stayed working the entire time. Addressed it as best as I thought I could at the time, and just, I don't know if it ever really worked then like it did later.
So it was all these things just catching up to you, right? Like you put it inside and...
Yeah. Put it away, you think it's gone, it's dealt with. What experience do any humans dealing with horror? In therapy, one of the key phrases he said is that humans do not do horror well. And it's that whole fight or flight reflex that you can do it for a very short period of time on occasion, but you can't be subjected to it over and over and over, where your body is in a constant state of that. It's toxic. It's not good. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for organs. And it caught up. It was just, it was like almost a death by 1,000 paper cuts, but some of the cuts were pretty deep. That was a deep one. I think that was the first big one, and it just never had a chance to close. And then subsequent things over the years just kept that wound open, where it never healed properly in my brain, and it all came out again later.